This is a board meeting.
All right, call to order. Julie, would you mind calling the roll, please?
Certainly. Kara Caston.
Here.
Ken Dawson.
Here.
Cheryl Fuller.
Here.
Jenny Hagstrom.
Here.
Terry Pavicic.
Look.
Terry Pavicic.
Yes, hi.
Hi, thank you. Sorry.
I'm sorry, I was distracted, I'm sorry.
Don Renner.
Here.
Yeah.
Rihanna Sheen. Thank you. And Jason Trio.
Workshop,
Having a
but
quorum, let's stand for the
closed session.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, looks like we're going to start out with approval of minutes. Item number 3. Can I get a motion from the Board of Education to approve the minutes of the July 15th, 2024 business meeting, the August 5th, 2024 workshop meeting with action items, and the August 5th, 2024 closed meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Terry moves, Ken seconds.
Thank you. Terry Pavicic. Terry Pavicic.
Yes, sorry. Distracted again, sorry.
Ken Dawson.
Here. Yes. Here.
Cheryl Fuller.
Here.
Is that a
Yes or
yes?
Yes.
Thank you.
I know.
Yeah,
Summer. It's still summer.
Hagstrom.
yes.
Thank you.
Monday,
Kara Caston.
Yes.
And Don Renner.
Yes, motion carries.
Thank you.
Item number 4, Julie, do we have any slips?
No, sir, we do not.
Okay, thank you. Item number 5, Hank, I'll turn it over to you for student perspectives.
So welcome to Jason and Rahan to our board as student representatives. They've gone through exactly 2 days of school. So we'll invite them each to just offer their perspectives on the start of a new school year. Who wants to go first?
I can go first.
All right, go ahead, Jason.
All right, so starting off, nothing but positives this year. I want to start off with the welcome back committee for the freshmen. We have this event called Mad Dash at our school, and we basically get around the beginning of August, and all the upperclassmen come to welcome the freshmen. And there's this really cool thing at Mad Dash. It's called the Welcome Tunnel, where we all huddle around the gym entrance where they're going to be located, and everyone's just like screaming and singing along. And it's really funny to think about because back as a freshman, I just thought, what is this walking in? But looking back, it really made me feel a little more comfortable going into high school, and I think that it did serve the same purpose this year. Overall, big success, and the groups that they were in for Mad Dash was pretty unique because they got to spend a little bit of time the first day of school back with them and with a couple of seniors or Blue Crew members, getting like an intro, some tips, lockers, like what you should do, and that was pretty good. Moving on, we just got a new football field, so that was pretty nice. I'm super excited for Friday Night Lights, and I'm proud to say that the scoreboard is pretty big. Lastly, I just want to say the past 2 years, they haven't been bad, but there has been a lot of changes, and it's kind of nice to just get a break from adapting. Going into sophomore year, we had the hybrid block schedule. Then next year, we just fixed all the nooks and crannies. This year, of course, there were some changes as every year comes, but it was just a little break, and overall, it's been super nice.
Thanks, Jason. Good to hear. Good. Rahan?
So I just want to start off by saying, all the students had a pretty smooth first 2 days, everyone, from what I've observed. Everyone's excited to get back in the swing of things, both for their classes and to see their peers in general. Fall sports have begun, and you can see athletes roaming around their halls with the 2 bags. It'll be a tough couple months for them to juggle everyone's schedule, right? Of course, with the new track and the new Jumbotron at North, it makes the experience a lot better for all of the athletes. And then, as for the freshmen, orientation went very well according to my sister. So I have a freshman sister going into freshman year, and she said, as well as like similar to what South does, they welcome all the kids at the front kind of area of DGN, kind of chanting and whatnot. So she thought it was amazing, and she thought it was very fun. Kind of got her used to the whole setting of a high school thing, and it helps them transition to the big building. And even then, they still have their anxiety, whatnot, going into the big school. But yeah, hopefully that'll be over within the next week or so.
Very good. Any questions for board members, for Rahan or Jason? All right, welcome. All right, my reports, before we get into the formal reports informally, also, just reflecting as the superintendent on the start of the school year. Staff came back last Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday for in-service days. We had a keynote speaker the first day that focused on grading and grading procedures, and that the cost of that presenter was offset in some ways by the Education Foundation. But really, Joe Feldman is one of the most premier thinkers in the area of grading in today's educational environment. And then we, after that, had some sessions really focused on grading and professional development. The next day was really building focused and logistics and reinforcing the strategic plan and indicators and measures. And then the third day, we had a presenter, the Dean of Admissions from the University of Chicago, and the response on his presentation has been incredible. I've never seen such a positive response from our staff about a single presenter. Many people have commented that it was the best presenter they heard on an opening day ever, which hurt a little bit because sometimes I'm the presenter on opening day. But yeah, really good information. Peter Wilson from University of Chicago, Dean of Admissions. He's also agreed to do a podcast should we choose to do so for our families and students. So we're working on maybe pulling that together. And then we did a professional development rotation on a few other topics. After that, real positive energy from our staff. As Jason said, we've gone through a lot of changes and tweaks and those kinds of things over the last several years, and with the undercurrents of COVID and some of the culture wars and those kinds of things, it was really nice to get back to a normal start to the school year. Everybody had really the first full summer in a while to fully recharge and build up the energy that it takes to start and carry themselves through a school year. And our staff is ready to go. And then when students came back on Friday and again today, we freed everybody up from meetings and spent a lot of time in the buildings, getting to visit staff and students, and it's really an exciting start with a lot of energy and positivity. So excited to get into the school year.
Well, having been there, Ken was there with me that morning. You could just feel the enthusiasm and excitement. And it was just, I think I said to you, is palpable. It really was. I too heard a lot of great comments and feedback about the presenter from the University of Chicago. One of the teachers I spoke with said, kids don't always have the opportunity to go and talk with their counselors about questions they have about getting into college and pursuing post-secondary opportunities. And oftentimes teachers will be asked questions. And, teachers don't always have the time to stay up to speed on current college admission processes and procedures. So to have that presentation there just gives them the confidence to speak, on an educated basis and to help kids. And that's another way that we can help kids. So I thought it was powerful and very well received. So thank you. I think your team did a really nice job.
Our college and career counselors followed up after the presenter from University of Chicago and then provided context around the variety of different pathways that our students pursue in College DuPage and what colleges across the nation are looking for. And 5 of those top factors tie back to grades, which reinforces why we started out talking about grades at the beginning of the week. So it was a really good thread that pulled through the week and a really exciting start. All right, so into my formal reports. The first couple are procedural that happen every year at this time. The first is an action item that comes up this evening, which is the approval of our concussion oversight team. You can see who that list is, with athletic, the associate principals of athletics or athletic directors, associate principals, nurses, our athletic trainers, and doctor consultants that make up that overall concussion oversight team. Scott really helps head up that team as well in his role. and we're asking for the board to approve this team this evening. Any questions for Scott or I on this?
Do we pay the physician consultants like some kind of retainer to be on call, or do they just volunteer their time for this?
No, for this, they're truly volunteer.
Okay.
So they're just a good guidance, so and they've been with the district for a while,
Hmm.
so it's been nice.
That is great. Thank you.
Good partnership.
The next one is another similar team, or similar process to approve a team. This is Crisis De-Escalation Physical Management Team. You can see what they do. It's around alternative intervention and escalation strategies. You can see the team there. Scott also heads up this team, and the board approves this team on a yearly basis as well. Scott can answer any questions that anybody has on this team. If not, if there are none, this will be an approval item this evening. All right, hearing none. Grant allocations, this is also an action item this evening. Gina brings these to you every year at this time, and I will turn it over to her to discuss grant allocations.
So as you can see, we get most of these grants every year. The one grant that is not necessarily predictable is the ISEP grant, which is Title III, multilingual, so it's for EL students. That can fluctuate from year to year, and we typically don't find out until November, December, sometimes even January. So I'm not sure if we will receive that grant again. The other grants have remained pretty constant. I would like to point out that CTEI and Perkins are dedicated specifically to CTE, so career and technical education, and our programming in those areas. And you can see that at least the funds for CTEI have gone up consistently the last couple of years, and that has proven to be very helpful as we have been adopting new courses, acquiring new materials, and that was approved in the state budget, as you may have heard before, for the state. So that's pretty exciting. The others, we sometimes get additional allocations as they come in, but the 24-25 allocations are the allocations as they are right now.
Any questions for Gina? All right. Next one is an updated career and technical education textbook for this school year. I'll turn this one over to Travis.
Just real quick, we went to order some replacement textbooks for this and realized that they were no longer available. So we needed to look at a newer source for that. So this is the 2023 copyright of this. We're looking for 2 classroom sets that are going to go into the classrooms.
They're the same book, just newer editions.
Newer update, yeah.
Any other questions for Travis? All right, this is also an action item this evening. ASBO International Certificate of Excellence in Financial Reporting. This is the school business official association for the, I think they're international, not just the United States, right? There's a wonderful picture of Jaree putting up the 25th consecutive year of recognition for our excellence in financial reporting. Jaree continues this tradition, joined with Tammy in the past year, and we have a pretty good thing going, and good recognition for our team and how they pull all those reports together and publish them with fidelity on a yearly basis. So congratulations to Jaree, Tammy, and the finance team for their work. All right, and with that, speaking of financial reporting, I will turn it over to Jaree to give you the overview of where we ended up for the last fiscal year that ended on June 30th of this year.
Okay. Well, we're taking a look at just an overview of the revenues for the year. Pretty much the revenues came in as expected, as you can see, except for a couple of the line items. On replacement taxes, the state did lower the amount that they distributed during the fiscal year, and they do anticipate, I'll be talking about it in the budget, For next year, they anticipate another reduction in the replacement taxes. However, as you can see in the interest line item, that well exceeded what we had budgeted. We're very fortunate. We work with PMA. They give us some advice on investments, and so that did help offset some of the areas that came in a little bit less than what we had anticipated. We did receive some additional federal aid last year with the CARES Act money. That has ended as of June, but it did help offset some of our additional expenses in special education. Any questions on the revenues? Okay. Then on the expenditures, they also came in pretty much as expected. The one area that we were a little over on, well, two areas. One was in our salaries. We had a little additional expenses for salaries this year, mainly due to sub-costs for the number of medical leaves that we had last year. And then we also had some additional special education staffing that we had to fill after we had set the budget. The other area that is a little bit higher is purchase services. We did talk about that earlier in the year, probably back in January, where we had seen our transportation costs were running quite a bit higher than what we had anticipated. And then, that's right, the other area is on the utility cost in the supply line item. And that's related to the delivery charges for electricity. Any questions on the expenses? So overall, when you look at the total revenues and total expenses, we came in pretty much on target. We just had some fluctuations with some of the accounts, and you can see with some of the funds, we were a little bit over and some a little bit under than what we had anticipated. But overall, we ended with 10.6% of fund balance, so that's a strong ending.
And I think it's important to point out that that's, a $22,395 deficit. That includes the purchases of the buses, correct?
Oh, yes, correct.
So the board authorized an additional $250,000 purchase of activity buses, which will give the district long-term savings in transportation costs. But that's reflected in this budget that wasn't in the original budget that was brought to the board. So, in a $115 million budget you'll see for this year, 112 last year, $22,395, although it's in the red, is pretty close to a balanced budget, and it's good work by all of our teams with these unexpected costs that showed up, of managing costs in other areas, especially operations and maintenance. You can see that surplus there, knowing that we were facing pressures elsewhere.
Well, and with the buses, we purchased used ones so that it was not as expensive as it could have been. So we really saved money there in the long run, really.
Yeah.
So
It just was outside of the budget.
just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
people knew we weren't just,
Correct. No, we had a really good opportunity to make that purchase to save us money down the road. But, when you look at when budgets are plans, right? And that original plan did not have that included. It also didn't have the things included that Jeree talked about. But in the end, you're very close to a balanced budget, in the end.
yeah.
Jeree, the $5.5 million of working cash receipts, can you explain that, please?
Those were the bonds that we issued
It's okay.
for the athletic projects.
Okay.
All right, any other questions on last year?
I should say 5 million was the bonds, and almost 500,000 was interest.
Okay. And then there are no expenditures from that fund until when?
This year.
This year?
We'll be bringing a resolution to the board probably in a couple of months, as soon as we're finished with the paying for the projects for this year.
Okay.
and then we'll transfer the money.
Okay. And then we have debt service on those bonds to pay the interest on them, is that, then we'll just.
Yes,
see that
we-
in future years?
We had interest earnings from other bond proceeds that are in that fund, and they're paying, that interest earnings is paying for the first 2 years' worth of debt service payments.
Okay. And then we'll have other debt roll off, and those payments will flow into that, so there will not be an impact on taxpayers. It'll just fill back into what's there. There won't be an increase in taxes to offset those bonds.
Thank you.
All right, good work, everybody, on last year. And now for next year, this year that we're entering into. And this is up as an action item to start the budget process that gets approved then next month. All right.
Okay, so we're going to start here with revenues. As you can see, as I'd mentioned, that the state informed us that we would receive another reduction in our replacement taxes for this coming year. So we have decreased that amount. We were well over, we were 2.2 million or so over a couple of years ago, but it has dropped now to about 1.8 million. The next line is just the bond proceeds, just showing that we received bond proceeds last year, but this year we don't have any plans to issue any bonds. We are showing a reduction in interest earnings. With the way interest rates are going, we're projecting that we're not going to have the same amount of interest earnings this year as we did last year. Tammy and I also talked to PMA and asked for their advice, and they said that we were spot on what our projection is for this next coming year. You'll see then in the federal aid line item, it's a pretty big reduction in federal aid, and that's, as I'd mentioned earlier, that's because we no longer will receive any CARES Act allocations for this year. Any questions on what we project for the revenues for this year?
There's a couple of comments I'd like to make related to the federal aid piece. For the last several years, that federal aid coming in has helped support some of the programs we have in place, like the student success coordinators, the PATH coordinators, which are interventions that have been put in place over the kind of COVID years that use those federal funds. Those have been very successful programs for us. We've maintained those, so that those resources need to shift over from those funds to local funds. So in a second, I'm setting up like you're going to see some expenditures increasing in the ed fund, but it's those kinds of decisions, bringing on those extra folks, bringing on additional social workers, and these are all kind of higher paid teachers, right? These are teachers with master's degrees and lots of experience and expertise that are you're going to see our ed fund growing because of that. We're absorbing those costs. The federal government's no longer picking them up, but they've become valuable for the programming that we offer.
Okay, and here's our projected expenditures by category for the year. When it comes to the salary and benefits line items there, both of those are staying within our revenue stream. It is, a pretty large increase. We're looking at over $4 million increase in those two areas, but they do stay within our revenue stream. For purchase services, it appears like there's a small increase in purchase services. However, in the ed fund, our purchase services expenses are going to they're going to be a little bit less than what they were last year. Last year, we had a number of positions that were filled with a staffing agency. We plan just to have one position filled with the staffing agency for this year. So that will be a reduction in our expenses. However, in the transportation fund, we do show a pretty big increase in purchase services, which is the busing costs for our students. When we look at the supply line item, we're showing a reduction from last year, and that's really just related to the number of textbooks that we're purchasing this year. It's significantly less than what was last year. For capital outlay, the number of projects that we pay out of operating funds, which is different than the athletic projects, is quite a bit smaller this year. We don't anticipate any technology projects, capital projects this year, and then just the general repairs and maintenance projects are less than what they have been in the past. Other than that, you can see just overall, it's a 2.9% increase over last year's actuals. We have some areas up higher and some that are lower.
Your comment on the capital outlays for the athletics is because that's coming from the working cash?
Correct, it's a completely different fund. And this is strictly just the general operation. So this slide shows us our operating fund balances, what we're beginning with, which was that $22,000 small deficit, and then what we project our ending total fund balances to be next year. So we do project that we're going to spend a little bit more on our expenses than what our revenues are for the year at this time. We know that we have some areas that we might be able to find some savings in, and so we've got teams working on that, and hopefully we'll be able to have a balanced budget at the end of the year. But right now, this is our projection. It's a conservative projection, and we actually have a meeting scheduled next week with all administrators to start identifying some areas where possibly we could have some savings. Overall, though, we're showing we're going to end our fund balance with a 6.2% portion of our revenues, and that's really pretty strong. Board policy says we have to have at least 3%. Hank and I believe anything over 5% is right where we want to be. Any questions?
Nice job as always.
Yes.
It's a
Thank you.
team.
Thank you.
One other thing that you'll see later in the year, you can see the bottom line is that key one, right? We're projecting a slight deficit, $294,000. I know in our household budgets, $294,000 sounds like a lot of money, and it is, but in a $115 million budget, it's not, just some slight changes in electrical use and transportation and, not outsourcing positions can make that up very quickly. And just like going the other way could make that go the wrong way quickly, right? So that's why we're having this meeting, to keep a close eye on it. But Dree and I have also started talking about how we levy within these funds so that you don't see as big of surpluses and deficits in each of the individual funds. And that comes back to the board in the budget process in January. So you'll see these kinds of fund adjustments as the year goes on as well. Anything I missed there, Dree?
No.
All right, so there's an action item tonight to start the budget process, and then that comes back next month for final approval. Freedom of information requests, we have received them, we have filled them, and they can be found listed on our website.
Okay, item number 7, consent agenda. Before the board votes on the consent agenda, is there any agenda item a board member would like to pull out of the consent agenda for further discussion? No. Hearing none, can I get a motion for the Board of Education to approve the consent agenda as presented, which includes A, personnel report, appointment certified, contract adjustment certified, leave of absence classified, appointment classified, B, Personnel report, resignation certified, resignation classified. C, June treasurer's report and July financial pages. D, 2024-2025 concussion oversight team. And E, 2024-2025 crisis de-escalation and physical management oversight team.
So moved.
Second.
Terry moves, 10 seconds.
Thank you. Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Ken Dawson.
Aye.
Cheryl Fuller.
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom.
Aye.
Kara Caston.
Aye.
And Don Renner.
Aye, motion carries. Item number 8, recommendations for action. Item A, can I get a motion for the Board of Education to approve the 2024-2025 grant allocations as presented?
So moved. Second.
Terry moved, Kara second.
Yes.
Well, she's closer, so it got there quicker.
Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Kara Caston.
Aye.
Ken Dawson.
Aye.
Cheryl Fuller.
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom.
Aye.
And Don Renner.
Aye, motion carries. Item B, can I get a motion for the Board of Education to approve the updated CTE textbook for the 2024-2025 school year?
So moved. Second.
Kara moved, Jenny seconds.
Thank you. Kara Caston.
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom.
Aye.
Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Ken Dawson.
Aye.
Cheryl Fuller.
Aye.
And Don Renner.
Aye, motion carries. Item C, can I get a motion for the Board of Education to accept the tentative budget for the 2024-2025 fiscal year and establish 6:30 PM, September 23rd, 2024, for the public hearing to be held at the Administrative Service Center, 6301 Springside Avenue, Downers Grove, Illinois?
So moved. Second.
Terry moves, Kara seconds.
Thank you. Terry Pavasich.
Aye.
Kara Caston.
Aye.
Ken Dawson.
Aye.
Cheryl Fuller.
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom.
Aye.
And Don Renner.
Aye, motion carries. Item 9, any old business, Hank?
No old business?
And item number 10, new business?
Policy Committee, first reading of policies, the board met. You can see in your packet the policies that we looked at, considered, and then changes we're recommending for the board. I think all of these, right, Julie, came from press?
Yes.
Yeah, all of these are originating from press updates, which generally point back to some kind of a legal update that requires us to make those changes. All of those materials are in the packet for first review this month. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you can reach out to Don or Chris, who sit on the policy committee, or myself. Otherwise, these will come back next month for final approval. Any questions on any of those at this point?
Item number 11, Julie, do we have any visitor slips?
No, sir.
Thank you. Item number 12, Jenny, can I get a report on Lynn?
Don't have anything yet. The first meeting for this school year will be on September 20th, in person at the Glen Ellen or Marquardt Administrative Center, starting at 8 o'clock, so.
Okay. Terry, how about the Education Foundation?
No, we did not meet this month, but we're working on the bylaws and the grant forms. So those should be voted on this next week.
Julia Beckman, the president, previewed that with all the staff on opening day and
Oh, okay.
was there to welcome our staff back as well.
Good.
Okay. Ken, any report on IASB?
Nothing new. Obviously, we have the big convention, so to speak, in November. Different seminar offers will be coming up, so we can strategically get an early jump on the ones we want to attend. It won't be our first rodeo for any of us, so very excited about it.
I'll make cookies.
Yeah.
Sherelle, I'm assuming there's no report on the Plan Commission at this point, right?
No, because there was a meeting.
Oh, there was. Okay.
There appears the meetings are the same time, the first Monday of every month. So I'll have to talk about, is it appropriate to report out on the information that I'm receiving as a result of missing the meeting, because I'm here at our meeting.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
SACID.
Oh. I don't see that on there. Oh, did I miss it? I did miss it. Yeah, I'm sorry. And then SACID,
Would be Chris, he's not here.
so-
We're working through the budget process there as well. There was, as the board may remember, there was a lot of time spent last year in the spring on budgeting format, fee format, staffing plans. That's emerging this year in our budget cycle. So that's the big work right now. The new executive director, Kim Dreyer, is there, off to a pretty good start with their school year over there as well. They've been working very closely with us on some of our concerns related to Medicare costs and reimbursements around that, so been a good partner with us as we've worked on our budget this year as well. So Chris and I both have upcoming meetings to really work through the budgeting process and approval and all of that in the coming weeks.
Okay, item number 13, upcoming board meetings. Our next workshop meeting is September 9th here at the ASC, and then followed on September 23rd. We have a regular business meeting again at the ASC at 6:30 PM.
And a reminder that month doesn't follow our normal cycle because we moved the September meeting by a week when we put our calendar together this year so that we wouldn't have back-to-back weeks in September because of how the holiday of Labor Day falls. So just a reminder that that won't follow our regular rhythm in September.
Okay, item number 14, can I get a motion from the Board of Education to go into closed session for the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees, specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or specific volunteers of the district, or legal counsel for the district, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee, a specific individual who serves as an independent contractor in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or a volunteer of the district, or against legal counsel for the district to determine its validity.
So moved.
Second.
Ken moves and Kara seconds.
Thank you. Ken Dawson,
Aye.
Kara Caston,
Aye.
Cheryl Fuller,
Aye.
Jenny Hagstrom,
Aye.
Terry Pavasich,
Aye.
and Don Renner.
Motion carries. For the public, the board will not be taking any action on the personnel matter noted in the agenda when it comes out of closed session. The only action the board will be taking when it comes out of closed session is to adjourn.
And that is a change from the agenda. The agenda indicated that there would be action, and the administration is not recommending action at this time.
We are going into closed session. Yes, thank you.